GA folks, wanted to discuss a new FIP that's going out today called Gateways. So the main change behind Gateways is we want to deploy a new set of Farcaster contracts on chain on the Optimism mainnet that will make it easier for developers to read data and read state from these contracts. There's two main changes being proposed here. The first one is what we call a gateway pattern, which is going to add some rules around when you can create events. So the two rules being added are one, if you're registering an FID, you have to rent storage. This prevents a whole set of issues where people would register FIDs, thousands of FIDs, without registering storage, which were just useless and clogged up space on the network and on downstream apps. The second one, and we're doing this proactively, is to also limit the number of active signers that a user can have to 1,000. And users can add and remove signers to stay under this limit, but at any point in time, the total number of active ones must remain under 1,000. That's the primary change. There's a secondary smaller change where we're going to add mappings to the contracts. So developers who want to simply read, hey, give me all the signers a user has, or let me go back and forth between a user's FID and custody address, can do that easily by calling a function and without having to iterate through all of the historical events that a contract has generated. So we think these two updates are important, and they're going to make it a lot easier for developers to be able to use Farcaster contracts going forward to build apps and so on. Now, Farcaster contracts aren't upgradable, and this is by design to make them decentralized. And so we can't actually just make these changes unilaterally. What we're going to do is deploy a new set of contracts. We call them the v3.1 contracts, and we're going to copy over all of the state from the old contracts into the new contracts. So these are identical. All of the accounts are preserved, all of the signers are preserved, and everything's just the same. And these new contracts will implement these new rules, and everyone will switch over to using these contracts. Now, we've been in communication with app developers, people who run hubs, people who are generally participated in the Farcaster ecosystem, and we've got buy-in from a lot of folks that this design is a positive change, and that B, they're going to migrate their apps, and C, they're supportive of us making these changes. We've had to do this privately because there are some small security implications where releasing this design early may have meant that an attacker would be able to use it to create a lot of event spam. So that's why we're announcing this FIP sort of as the change is going out, and we've privately disclosed it to all interested parties in the ecosystem. Okay, getting to the implications of this. So we're going to do this cutover tomorrow, which means the new contracts are going out tomorrow, old contracts are going to be paused, and everyone in the network is going to switch over. We expect the deployment to happen at around 9 a.m. Pacific. And what that means is starting 9 a.m. Pacific, new users won't be able to sign up to Farcaster for a period of time. We expect everything will be back online by around 2 p.m. Pacific, so about 5 hours after the initial kickoff. But there is a small chance of errors and potential chance that this can get delayed to the next day, or that we actually end up finishing it earlier and are able to resume signups faster. We're going to try to stick to the schedule as much as possible, but there's a chance that these things can happen. If you are interested in diving into the technical details behind the change, there's an FIP that I'm going to link in the comments that you can actually read for all the details about how this is actually being implemented, all the code that's changing, and how you can update your applications to get on board. And as always, if you have any questions, you can DC me on Farcaster, and I'm happy to respond.